Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, the pain of reading bad books. It's my weekly wrap-up. So the format for this weekly video will be, as usual, so I'll talk about the books I've been reading this week. I will talk about what I'm planning to read in the week ahead, and I will talk about videos that have been up on the channel in the last week and what you can expect in the next week. But before I start, I just wanted to reflect on some really sad news which has hit the booktube community recently, and particularly the part of the booktube community that I consider myself to be part of. And that is that Pax Panic, who is a wonderful creator whose channel is fantastic. She's a really enthusiastic promoter of horror and particularly kind of indie horror, has been diagnosed with cancer. So she put up a post on her community tab a couple of days ago saying that subsequently Mr. Morningstar, who's another fantastic horror booktuber, has put up a video with a link for a GoFundMe campaign. I have shared that in my community tab myself, but if you do have a few spare quid or a few spare bucks this week, please do consider donating to Pax's GoFundMe to help fund her chemotherapy. And I'm sure whether you can fund her or not, everyone's best wishes are with you, Pax, if you're watching this. So yeah, some very sad news to start, but wanted to make sure people were aware of that. And if you do want to help out, I'm sure that would be hugely appreciated. So moving on to other stuff then. So something that's happening today. So I've been asked by MJ from the channel Reading This Life to go on to her Support Small Booktube live that she does every other Saturday, to talk about my channel and the growth of my channel and kind of what that's felt like. So that live will have happened by the time this video goes up. So it's scheduled for 2 p.m. UK time. This video will go 5 p.m. UK time. But once the kind of recording of the live is up, I will share that in my community tab as well, so people can watch that if they're interested. So on to the books then. So in terms of books, it's not been a very productive week for me. I was feeling a bit run down at the beginning of the week and just really tired, and didn't read that much, and then have gone back to work, and work has just been really full on. So much stuff to do to get kind of set up for the year. So I haven't read as much as I would have liked to, but I finished 3 books in the past week. So those were 2 from the Odd Thomas series by Dean R. Koontz, which is the ones I was referring to as bad books in the intro for this video. So those were Brother Odd and Odd Hours. So I don't know. There's something kind of appealing about the Odd Thomas books, and if you don't know, they're a series of books. There's 7 books in the series about this young guy in California who's got psychic powers. He can see and communicate with dead people, and also has kind of elements of premonition and things like that. And it's about he gets involved in various there are various wrongdoings that he gets involved in and tries to put right. And the actual plots are kind of fun. They're very slight. They're kind of pulpy. They're quite ridiculous at times. So the one I've just finished this morning, Odd Hours, was just absolutely ludicrous, but in quite a fun way. But the problem with the books is they're just much too long, and they're much too long because Dean Koontz just keeps on going on about stuff that is completely irrelevant to the plot and a bit preachy. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the series, but I will continue reading it and we'll finish it. The other book I read, which was a lot better, which I read both for my Disturbing Books project, where I'm reading a list of disturbing books that people left in the comments on one of my videos, and also for the Midnight Book Society, which is a monthly book club that's run by Kelsey from the channel Slime and Slashers, and that book was Gone to See the River Man by Kristopher Triana, which was really good. So a lot of people have mentioned this book to me in comments, and I've seen other people talk about it, but and that has made me really want to read it. So it's a book I've wanted to read for a while, and I'm really glad I have now, because it was just a really tight, enjoyable, nasty horror thriller. So I will do a full review of it, which will go up on Wednesday of this week, as part of the kind of updates on my Disturbing Books project. But yeah, it was just a fun, nasty read. So it's about a woman who is having a kind of relationship with a guy who's on death row for multiple sexual assaults and murders. So she's someone who writes to him in prison and develops a friendship and a romantic relationship with him as a result of that. And he asks her to do a favour for him, which involves her going to this old shack of his and getting something and taking it somewhere. And it's about what happens thereafter. And also about things that have happened in her life previously. But yeah, a really grim premise, really disturbing, and Kristopher Triana really wrung as much nastiness as he could have out of the book. Only a short book, so definitely, unlike the Odd Thomas books, a perfect length. The Odd Thomas books are all probably at least a third longer than they need to be, whereas this was a very nice, concise read. So yeah, I will talk about it a bit more in my kind of disturbing books update on Wednesday. So those are the books I've finished. I am continuing to read this Bomber by Len Deighton, which is his novel about the kind of bombing, the RAF bombings of Germany during the Second World War. So told from both the perspective of people who are in the crew of one of the bombers and also people on the ground in Germany. So a really interesting read. Lots of different characters, all quite succinctly but well crafted. So you do get a sense of, all the different people and their motivations and the impact of the war on their lives. Some good kind of historical detail as well, clearly very well researched, but also, quite even-handed. In that it certainly doesn't glorify, the bombings of German cities, which were, pretty terrible things, albeit, clearly considered to be necessary at the time. But, there were horrific civilian casualties during those. So yeah, a really interesting book, and I'm very much enjoying it so far. And my plan is to finish this weekend. So I'm a bit over a third of the way through. So I'm going to try and just knuckle down this weekend. I've got a fairly free weekend, so I'm going to try and knuckle down and finish this weekend. And in terms of other things, then I think I'm going to read in the week ahead. So as I say, I'm going to finish Bomber, and then I think I'm probably going to read Life, the Universe and Everything, which is this month's pick for my Berthier book tag reading group. And then also probably pick up Strangers on the Train by Patricia Highsmith, which I have read before, but I'm reading all of Patricia Highsmith's books this year in kind of a collaborative buddy read with Anne Novella, who's also got a BookTube channel, so I will link to her channel in the description for the video. And Anne actually just put up an excellent video about Anais Nin, who's an author I'm kind of aware of but don't really know much about. So Anne did a brilliant video about kind of her life and her works. So I'll try and remember to leave a link to that in the description as well, because it's well worth watching. So those are my reading plans for the week ahead. So Strangers on the Train obviously is the first of Patricia Highsmith's books. So that's the one we are starting with. So I'm going to try and get both of those read this week as well, and hopefully something else, because I'm a bit behind where I should be reading wise. So as I say, I've got a fairly free weekend this weekend, so hopefully I can kind of catch up a bit. And the other thing book-wise to talk about is the thing I always forget to talk about in these videos, which is to give an update on my Read What You Own challenge. So if you don't know, I've committed to a challenge where I will read 100 books I already own before I buy any new ones, because my buying just got out of control in the second half of last year. So I've got tons of books to read. So I'm reading 100 books I already have before I buy anything new. There's a few caveats in there about, being able to get books out of the library for buddy reads and things like that. But yes, I've now read 45 books against that target of 100, so I'm getting through a reasonable rate, and hope to have that wrapped up in probably by mid-March, I would have thought. So yeah, 45 books read so far. In terms of channel stuff then, so stuff you will have seen on the channel in the last week. So I did a video yesterday promoting the Birth Year book group. So this is a book group where we read books that were nominated by people that were published in the year they were born. So a ton of people have responded to that video, which is lovely. A load more people have joined my Discord server. So, and if you don't know what Discord is it's an app basically. You can get an app for your, like Windows or Mac as well as for your phone, where you just have discussions. So it's a lot like Slack or something like that if you use that at work, or Microsoft Teams, and that you can have different channels for discussions of different things. And it's really kind of like old school web forums, but just a really good place to discuss books. So I have a Discord server where I discuss books I'm reading, stuff that's happening on the channel, all sorts of different things. And there's over 400 people on that server now, so we have some really good conversations there. So I did that video. I did a video about Richard Matheson and his short stories. I did a review of Story of the Eye by Georges Bataille, which is one of the disturbing books I've read. I did my top 10 trashy reads of 2022. I did a video about how to read faster. And I also announced my February reading event, Garb August 1.5, the Wasted Weekend, which will be on the 4th and 5th of August. So if you haven't seen that video, Garb August is an event I ran in August of 2022, and we'll be running again in August 2023, which is a celebration of kind of trashy books. And Garb August 1.5, the Wasted Weekend, will be on the 4th and 5th of February, and will just be a weekend where you try and read one trashy book. So watch that video for more information. So that's what's been on the channel in the week just gone. In the week ahead, I'm probably going to do, having done, or after I've done the live today with MJ talking about my channel, I think I might do a kind of further thoughts type video. I'll see, but I might do a video like that for tomorrow. I'm going to try and do a small press spotlight video this week, where I talk about some of the books I've been sent by authors and small press publishers to read, and do reviews of a couple that I've read recently. I'm going to do an update on my Disturbing Books project and just where I've got to with it, and where my head is at with it. I'm going to do a review of Gone to See the Riverman, as I said, and probably a review of Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay as well, because I still haven't got around to doing a review of that, and it was such a good book, I feel like I should. So that's the kind of stuff that will be on the channel in the week ahead. I may do a tag on Tuesday as well, but not sure which one to do yet. But yeah, that's a flavour for what is coming up. Okay, time for a random book from the shelf. So this is one that was sent to me this week by an author, David Bryan. He actually sent me a bunch of his books. I was only expecting one, and I ended up with 2 parcels coming through the door, which was lovely. So I will be talking about these in my small press spotlight video that I do this week, but I just had to talk about this one because it sounds amazing. So it's called Breeding Ground. It's a killer animal book, but a killer animal book about squirrels. But the reviews on Goodreads for it are fantastic. So it's supposed to be like it's a newish release. I'm not sure when it was released. 2021 release, but it's supposed to have a kind of proper old school Paperbacks from Hell style killer animal vibe to it. But the fact that it's about squirrels, I think, is just brilliant, because we've got loads of squirrels around here, and they're an absolute pest. They do look quite cute from a distance, but they are a nuisance. So I'm looking forward to reading a book that hopefully ends with lots of squirrels getting killed. So I hope you found that interesting. Do let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books I talked about. Let me know what you've been reading this week. And please do check out that video from Mr. Morningstar about Pax. And if you can contribute to her GoFundMe, that would be absolutely wonderful. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.